Welcome back. I have a couple of Lichess rapid games to go through today, and I have my fingers crossed that my blunders in these or mistakes, if any, were simple and easy to understand because I don't feel like taking too long or leaving this with a bad feeling that I don't understand. In this one, I'm pretty sure that's the case because, as you can see from the graph, I made one mistake here that very quickly led me to resign. Once again, we're seeing this phenomenon of neither my opponent nor I making any mistakes until, in this case, move 17. I think I've mentioned in a couple of recent videos that this is becoming more and more common, which is impressive that both my opponent and I are able to get that far without any mistakes or blunders. We did have a couple of inaccuracies. My opponent had one here on move 4 and I had one on move 13, but I'm not even going to look at those. I'm just going to go to here, which is move 16. I do try not to look at the engine suggestions up at the top of the right column or in the move list where it says what I should have played instead of what I did play, but in this case I did see it just as soon as I turned on the engine. There still, as far as I know, is no way to turn that off and just have a move list with an eval bar on this site. And so I saw that what I played here was e6. I'm not sure what I was thinking with that move. I'm trying to remember what my rationale was. Obviously, they could have just taken it with this pawn. I think maybe that's what I was thinking, is if they took with that pawn, then it would leave this knight undefended. Maybe that's what I was thinking, because right now the bishop's protecting the knight. But, I mean, obviously the bishop can just capture, which isn't what happened, according to the move list here. So, yeah, bishop capturing e6 was best. Okay. And I did see that my only move here is f4. Which obviously protects that pawn, and it would have given me connect 4, so I would have completed that quest. And in hindsight, I don't know why I didn't play that. Another move that would have made a little bit of sense to me would have been b3 to complete my connect 3 over here. And it's not listed, but I can see playing a3, to keep a knight from coming in this way. But even if I played b3 and a knight came in here, it's not aiming at much, right? It would be aiming at these two squares, which I guess they would try to sneak into since the bishop's also guarding there. But yeah, f4 makes a lot of sense. This pawn is currently undefended since the knight has just moved out of the way of their bishop, and the best way to protect it would be to just move up my f pawn. I do understand that. But my opponent didn't take with the bishop, which is their only move here. They played their second best move, which gives me the advantage back, knight to e5. And here I again had an only move, which is taking with check. And since, if I'm not mistaken, as soon as I played this, I realized, oh, they can just take that. But when they didn't, I thought, well, if they could have just taken it, and they still can, because I can't advance it any further, I might as well take a pawn with me. And I did. And it was their best move, looks like, to take back with the king, and they did. I think the only good thing about that is that it separated this pawn from all the others. These two are over here together, and these three are over here together, and their e-pawn is separate. But now again, I have an only move, and this time it's b3. I think that's because they're attacking c4. Now I'm just going to guess I played this next move quickly. My clock says 8:10. No, I spent 20 seconds on that move. Wow. See, now I played f4, but it's not a good move now. It was a good move 2 turns ago. But now there's a problem in my position, and that problem is that this pawn is undefended, and they're attacking it. And if I let them have it, then my bishop's undefended, and they'll be attacking that. And from there, they'll be attacking the rook in, these two pieces here. I spent 20 seconds and forced the knight to take my undefended pawn. That was simple enough. I should have defended this pawn. I think in hindsight, both of my best moves there were obvious, or close enough to obvious that I should have been able to find them given how much time I spent here. 20 seconds, that's a lot. This game was the night before last. Let me go into last night's game. Well, in this one, the review shows that my opponent had an advantage a lot of the way here, but then suddenly I got the advantage near the end, but I only made one mistake, and it was here after I was already behind. So it looks like I went behind with inaccuracies. You can see the blue dots there indicating my inaccuracies. And one was pretty early, so I think since I just had the one mistake that was not consequential, I am going to look at the inaccuracies in this game. But again, no mistakes until move 17. In this case, it was mine, and my opponent's first mistake was move 24. So despite our relatively low ratings, I'm playing some pretty decent opponents, and my opponents, when they play me, are playing a pretty decent opponent most of the time. Okay, my opponent and I both made inaccuracies on move 3. All right, so let's see what happened here. Move 2 was this. My opponent was playing the symmetrical English. They played one of their better moves, which I assume is preparing this. I said this, I meant d5. I am trying to stop saying this and that and over here, and I'm trying to name the squares because that sounds more knowledgeable and professional than just pointing like a toddler. Here I should have played knight to f3 or e3. I think both of those are normal moves in the English. I should have been able to figure that out. Or even e4 is okay. Or b3 to protect this pawn. And I think also that helps develop the dark squared bishop. Or d4 now. I think d4 would transpose into something besides the English, but I'm not sure. But what I did was I went ahead with my normal English development, which was playing g3 in order to get this bishop out. But I wasn't watching their preparation here. And when I played that, yeah, their only move here is d5. And then I would have to take it. They would take back, and then I would play d3 to protect this pawn. No, that pawn wouldn't be there anymore. Wait. So if they played their only move, I'm pretty sure I would have taken it, because if not, they would have pushed past. So if I took here, their only move would be to take back. And then why would I play d3? To get this bishop out? See, I thought here I would want to play e3, so when that pawn pushed forward, I could hide or take it. But e3 is definitely not up there. Either getting the bishop out or d3. Okay, so what if I played d3? They wouldn't push this forward. Well, they might. It's one of the moves. And if they did, I guess I could go here then, e4. And my opponent would have a slight advantage right out of the gate on move 6. But instead, when I played this, they didn't play d5. They played knight to c6, which gives the advantage back to me, but only if I play knight to f3 or bishop to g2, which I did. So my next inaccuracy didn't come until move 8, when we got to this position, and I should have played d3 because that pawn's undefended. All right, well, this came up in the last game too, so maybe this is the combination of these two can teach me a lesson here. In the English, this pawn is handy because it controls d5 to some extent, but it's also vulnerable if they ever get these knights out here like this, so I can defend it. b3 is my 4th best move, but that would give my opponent an advantage. I can protect it with d3. Now, I played d4 here, which is my 2nd best move. Now, there's a couple of problems with that, but I can say why I played it. That's because I was in a similar situation before, I think a couple of weeks ago, but I think the knight was over here. And in that situation, I did not realize that their knight, or, and this knight can do the same thing, can hop in here to d3 to check me, and I can't take it, so my king had to move. Now, that turned out to be a problem, and I saw that in this game. So I am learning, because I remember that evaluation. I remember that game, that blunder from a few weeks ago. So as soon as they hopped that knight here, I immediately thought, wait, they're aiming for this. I can guard that square by throwing this pawn forward, and then my queen guards d3. But the problem with that is that it doesn't defend this pawn. So I had two vulnerabilities here. One is that they can take this pawn for free, and the other is that they can hop in here. And that's why b3 is so low down the list, because then that allows the check. So that makes d3 make a lot of sense. They wouldn't take it because my queen's protecting that square once the pawn has moved, and it's defending that pawn. Okay, I think I should have been able to find that. How long did I spend on this move? 7 seconds? Okay. Yeah, I should have been able to find that. And unlike many of my mistakes and blunders, I do understand why that's inaccurate, what I played up here at d4. Okay, let's just go on to my mistake, which, as I said, did not happen until pretty late here. I mean, we're getting out of the opening now and into the middle game. According to the little graph at the bottom, right here is where we enter the middle game. And I guess it's because I got my queen off the back rank. That's when we crossed this line here, which says middle game. And then a couple of moves later is when we get right here, and then I made a mistake. My only mistake of the game, according to the graph. But as you can see, my opponent already is maintaining a little bit of an advantage. I don't have an only move here, but I do have only 2 moves that keep us below -1 or within the -1+1 range. And one is taking the bishop. That's my best one. I did consider that. I remember considering whether or not this knight was strong and should stay here, where it's blocking their d-pawn, and it's controlling squares on the other side of the board, and my opponent does not have any pawns on the C or E files to challenge that knight. So I never know whether it's good to trade this off for a bishop that can't go anywhere anyway, or to keep it here where it's, kind of powerful, patrolling all of these squares. Powerful may not be the right term, but it's in a good, safe place, relatively safe. They can dislodge it by trading a knight or the dark squared bishop for it, but anyway, yeah, I didn't know. I thought that's their bad bishop because of where these 2 pawns are. Where's that bishop going? It can reroute around back, but it's not going to go there or there, right? Because any of those places I could take it. I guess it could go over here, but then what's it going to go in there? I think I would be okay with that. Also, my knight's guarding that square too. So that's why I chose not to take it. But another move that keeps us within the range is knight c to b5, which goes after their other bishop. Now, to my credit, I did find that on my next turn, but I played b4 here. Why did I play b4, you ask? I don't know. I honestly can't remember my train of thought. Maybe it was because I thought they might try to dislodge this knight this way, and so I pushed forward. But I guess if they did that, I could have gone ahead and taken here and then played b4. But this challenges the dark squared bishop, and it says in that case they would leave it. They would just move one of, no, not that rook. It says they would move their f rook over to the c file. Oh, because it would be pointed at my queen. So I would want to move my queen. I would move it down here where it could protect the other knight. And then they would move that bishop to e5. And then I can't see the rest of the line, but I would probably end up taking the other bishop anyway. Oh, I guess another thing that this knight move does besides aim at that bishop is it gets out of the way of this bishop here, which is, can protect the other knight in addition to the pawn protecting it. And the reason they wouldn't move that rook over is because then I, would eventually get that pawn for free after I got my queen out of the way. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, but my mistake, what did it allow? That's what I want to know. Sorry, that's not what I played. Oh, it did it again. Okay, I remember now. I must have clicked the control button and it switched between these two options down here. What did that allow that was so bad? It allowed several things, all of which are great for them. One is bishop to g4, one is bishop to d7, one is a6, which would prevent me from putting my knight over there. One is rook a to c8. Oh, now it says they can move the a rook over to c8. The other is bishop to e5. They didn't play any of those, but their move wasn't counted as a mistake. And in fact, knight to c4 gets as high an evaluation by the game review as all of those moves. But let's see if the engine runs. It's a little lower now. It was 1.8, but now it's minus 1.2. Okay. It is obviously aiming at the bishop, but my bishop was kind of not going anywhere right now. I did consider dropping it back. I remember that. But then I also thought it's kind of blocked in. I might as well just let them take it. And so I decided to hop one of my knights out here. And again, I had already determined that the knight on d4 was in a good place. So why not hop this knight out here? So I did play knight c to b5, which is fine. Now my opponent still has not made a mistake. So we kept playing. I'm just going to go. They weren't supposed to take back. Wait, what were they supposed to do? Just out of curiosity. Oh, wow. They were supposed to save their knight instead of taking mine. And then I would have hopped mine out here to threaten their queen. Wow, how are they ahead then? They're only up one pawn. That's because of, that c pawn earlier that I let them have. But anyway, so it's getting close to even here. My opponent still hasn't made a mistake. Not until move 24. Now they're up -1. I want to back up just out of curiosity and see if that was my best move. It was not. Bishop to f1 would have been my best move here. Wow. Well, what I was thinking was they hadn't traded here. They had instead doubled up on their rooks. They had managed to get this one here protected by the pawn, and they had doubled up, not wanting to trade just yet. Well, I realized that rook is already protected, but I didn't want to take here because then they would get another rook in there protected by the pawn. But I thought if I had my queen here, which would also hit that square, and if they still didn't trade, then I would take, and if they took, I would take, and if they took with the pawn, oh, that doesn't work out at all. Their bishop would be guarding it. Never mind. Oh, maybe somewhere in that exchange I would take the bishop or something. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, but it was my fourth best move, and it was pretty close. Okay, so here what my opponent had a bunch of moves that would have kept them in that same range. One is just dropping this queen back to, I guess, defend the rook. h5 to keep coming for my kingside pawns, or going ahead and trading. They still would have been ahead there. Or rook 4 to c7. This is rook 4? Oh, dropping that all the way back. Oh, and it says I would have taken then. Says I would have taken, and they would have taken, and then I just would have moved my other one up to c3. That's what that line says. Okay, so they had several moves here, but when they played bishop to g4, which they should have played, as we saw several moves earlier, and again, I assume it's to try to sneak it in here where this pawn would protect it, but wait, it looks like I would come out ahead if they wanted to trade there because I have multiple pieces guarding that. Okay, that put the advantage very slightly on my side, and I thought, especially since that bishop's gone, I don't know if I saw it earlier or not, but it's not there now. So now when that pawn takes, at some point after these rook trades, I'll pick up a pawn. So it was my best move, my only move to take that rook, and Stockfish says it doesn't matter whether they take with the pawn or the rook. Well, they took with the pawn, and now it's my only move to take with the rook, which I did. My next best move would have been to get in front of it, I guess, but yeah, I took it. They took back, and I took back. And that's all because they moved their bishop here, so their bishop wasn't guarding that anymore. And here they had several moves that kept us very close to that. One is bringing the bishop back. One is g6. Not sure what that does. a6, b6, king to f8. Okay, so I think a bunch of those moves suggest to me that the engine thinks their position is okay right now, and they shouldn't mess it up too much. But the problem is I think that they messed it up too much. And one thing they did was go over here. And I immediately thought, we're even on pawns now because I got that extra pawn here, right? If I take this, that doubles their pawns, and those pawns then can't go anywhere. It is my only move. Okay, well, good. So I took there and they took there. My best move was knight to c6 because they can't stop me from taking that pawn. And if they move this forward, I can just take that. So my opponent resigned here because I guess they realized that that's what would happen. I'm honestly surprised that they resigned because I don't know that I would have guessed. Oh, it's not just about me taking these pawns, though. It's about the fact that they probably won't be able to stop these. And if they try to start bringing their knight somewhere to help stop my pawns, then nothing's going to keep me from taking this. They have to keep their knight here protecting that pawn and that bishop. And after I take their rear pawn, or if they move the front one after I take that one, I'm going to be pushing this pawn to push that bishop back. I guess they gave it some time and resigned. But yeah, I went behind right here on d4, and like I said, I'm pretty sure that I do understand d3 now. I don't know how the game would have gone after that, but I do understand it, so good. I think I do have time for one short puzzle rush, so I'm going to switch over and do that now. All right, in a recent video, I did 2 5-minute sessions, but here, because of my time remaining, I'm going to do a 3-minute session, and hopefully I'll do well. I don't hold out any hope of beating my top score of 22, but I'll do my best. See if we can recognize some patterns here. I'm guessing they're going to move their rook someplace. Yep, they did. Okay, I think that was checkmate. I'm playing with the white pieces, then this is probably checkmate. Oh, they did that. Well, this should be checkmate there. Okay, what about this? Was that mate? I think the queen over there was checkmate, and this one should probably take their rook and then their knight. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm really not that great at the taking the pieces thing. What do I do here? Check this way? Oh, that was it. Was that mate? Black to move? What about that? Okay. And then this, and then this, and then this. Very good. Ooh, I'm playing with the black pieces. I guess check. Oh, they took that, and then I guess here. Okay. White pieces. Should I just take that pawn? Think? Oh, and that pawn? Nope. I probably should have stepped over to the side or something. This looks like mate here. All right. Playing with the black pieces. Okay. Is it this one? I think because the pawn was keeping the thing from going someplace, I should check this way and then mate. Black pieces. Ooh. I'm not sure. What about taking this? Nope, that wasn't it. I didn't look at it long enough was probably the problem here. I just have to push it back and get the back rank. Checkmate. White pieces. Okay. Here, that's mate, I think, because the pawn was protecting. And here I have a, what do I have? Do I have a check? Nope. Oh, I already missed 3. Wow. Oh, what I was thinking was that would force them to take, right? And then I could bring this rook over. Oh, but that's bad because of these. Okay, never mind. But yeah, I was thinking that the king wouldn't be able to get out because of the bishops guarding across there. Okay, well, let's see what I did here. I clearly missed some things. Okay, this one, they took my rook, and I took here correctly, and I was surprised that they blocked there, but I definitely shouldn't have taken. Oh, I should have just moved up here, where I would be threatening mate. I don't know what to suggest for the theme on that one. The next one that I missed was this one, in which my opponent moved their king out of check, and I took that pawn thinking I was threatening mate here, but what I probably should have done is checked, right? They don't have anything guarding that square? Oh, that was it. Okay. And then checked here. And then, oh, and then took the rook. Well, now that the king is away from the rook. Okay. Well, it took me a little while. Still not mate. They're still going to get out. But I think I should be able to mate them before too much longer. Yeah, I'm surprised that those two were rated below 1,000. They seemed to have complex problems. Oh, the theme here says this is a mate in 1. Well, I wish I had known that earlier. What is the mate in 1? Is it here? I should have just moved the queen to e4. Okay, because again, the bishops are cutting off the all those squares, and they don't have anything else that can block. All right, passed pawns? No, there is legally a passed pawn here, but that's not the theme of the puzzle. Well, I have a feeling I would probably do a little bit better than 15 if I tried this again, but I am out of time. Thank you for spending your time here. Let me know in the comments how you think my new system is helping me, or whether it's a good idea, or if I should make any other changes. In case I haven't mentioned it in a while, my new system is where every day I try to do something specifically that will help me get better at chess, unlike what I was doing previously, which was just random chess-related stuff. And here I'm trying to either analyze a Lichess rapid game from the night before every day, or do puzzles, and so on. I think it's helping, but that remains to be seen. I'll see you next time.